and thanks for stopping at our channel. In today's video, you are going to learn how to create this beautiful springtime basket which complements the front door swag that I've made in a previous video. What do you say we go ahead and get started? In today's video, we're going to be making a complementary piece to our swag that we created the other day. I've gone ahead and I've placed the link down in the description so that if you want to be able to make two pieces that match one another, not all the way, you'll notice we're going to use some different florals, but they're going to have the same ribbon and a few of the same florals. And again, it really is not that difficult when you just follow the same step-by-step process that I'm going to show you in this video. First thing, I took matching ribbon and I simply just wrapped it around the basket. I gave it a couple spots in the back of some hot glue so that the ribbon would stay. But again, my whole thought process through many of my projects that I do and share with you, we repurpose, we reuse. So this ribbon, it's gonna stay on while the piece is hanging on the door, wherever my client is choosing to put it. It's secure, but yeah, when she's ready to change it out for the season, she can easily remove this ribbon. I'm going to start to fill the basket with some greens. Some are going to match, some are going to be a little bit different, and then we're going to start to work, as we build up the foundation, we're going to start to work on placement of our flowers. I definitely want this to have the same airy impact that the other piece has. And I'm just going to do that by adding some tall, wispy greens into this piece. I've got a couple different types of ferns with different types of leaves. I'm always talking about that in my other videos. The importance of using a variety of greens with different textures and different tones, how it just brings the piece to life. Now this piece I did use in the swag, and that's why I want to make sure that I incorporate that as well. Typically I would be gluing all these down into the piece, but for the sake of the video, just to be rather quick at this point, I'm thinking I want that cascading, but we'll wait and see. The reason why I attached the bow ahead of time, at least wrapping the ribbon, was to remind me as I'm building this piece that I'm going to have a bow there. So I need to keep that in mind as I have my florals cascading over. I feel like that's a pretty good base for right now for our greens. So I'm going to go ahead and get our florals. These are some of the florals that I've chosen to work with. I have large white tulips, which mimic those tulips there. I have some, they are white tipped, but they do have some green. They're a little bit smaller that I'm also going to put in. And then rather than the two-tone tulips, I'm actually putting in a darker pink. The color matches, but the size is a little bit smaller. And I like that because the size of this basket is smaller than the overall piece of that swag. I also have some purple, I've got some pussy willows, and I have some green. So next step for me is to start to cut the stems. And I'm always telling you, don't cut them too short. Start with a larger stem so you have more to work with. And especially with the tulips, you want to make sure that we keep, if we pull off any tulip leaves, like this one here that I took off the bottom, want to make sure that we hang on to that because we will be using it in the end to probably come over the edge of the basket like it is fed through the ribbon, again to mimic the door swag. keeping in mind as we're working on this that this is going on the client's front door and this is going on her back door. So they're not going to be side by side for someone to compare. And I personally just like them to be a little different. Now, inserting into the Oasis foam, we want to try, if we can, to nip our stems at an angle, and this is just going to help us pierce through the foam. Just attaching some hot glue to the base of it, and then I'm just going to start and I'm not going to worry too much now about the bend and the curve. I'm going to play with that once I get a few more florals in. Again, this leaf is down too low, so I'm nipping it, but I'm going to pull it aside and save it. Cutting the stem at an angle. I want to try to give this basket the same feel that that piece has, that the flowers are just bursting out of the basket, which I just love. What I typically do is, if I'm not quite sure about the placement of a flower, I won't glue it. I'll just place it in the piece and then continue to work. And if I end up liking it, I will then go ahead and apply the glue. When you're pulling together a piece like this, you generally want to start with your largest flower and work your way down. So I've got large, I've got medium, and now I'm going to start to go into the smaller flower. Now what I love about these is some are very tight, some are a little bit looser, and then we've got these here that are really starting to pop. This is just, again, going to add so much interest to our piece. They're all the same length, which is great. These stems are not very firm at all, so I know that I'm going to have a difficult time trying to feed it down into the Oasis foam. So what I'm going to do is just take a wired pick, and I'll show you what those look like, and I'll put these down in the description as well. I'm simply just adding these to the base of the stem, and what that's going to do is that's going to help me be able to feed this tulip into the area where I want it. And I'm not as concerned about that pick showing because I've got Spanish moss in there and I've got other greenery. I'm just going to continue to do this to the rest of the 5 red tulips that I have here. Now I'm going to take the 2 tulips that are a little more open, and I'm going to place those on either side. Same process, I'm wrapping those stems as well. I think I'm going to cut this one a little bit. I want it a little bit bit shorter. So I'm going to take that down just a little bit. Got it wrapped, it's ready to go. Apply some glue. I'm also going to snip this one. Wrapping this with floral wire to a pick as well. Now it's time to go ahead and start using some of our other filler. I always trim my stems as long as I can possibly keep them. Now we could keep this just the way that it is and cut this down here, insert it, and then feed it through. I'm always talking about bending these. See how straight these are? This is not the way we'd find it outside in our garden. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually going to measure where I want the height, which is right about there, and then I am going to trim that. I'm cutting it at an angle, saving my stem, and then I am going to insert that right here in the middle. And now I'm going to start spreading this beautiful purple color throughout my arrangement. I have a little bit more. Now these, I know I want to go a little bit lower. So I am going to choose to trim these just a little bit shorter. These stems came from Hobby Lobby, and I'll be sure to, I have the tag, I'll put the item number on the florals in case you're interested in the same flower. Always keeping these extra stems, and if you did watch my video for the tulip, you'll know why. That's really important. Applying some glue. This could be so much fun. Any type of basket that you wanted to use, whether it's something that you have, or if you find something at a thrift shop, any type of container really. Artificial flowers, they don't need to be watered, so you don't have to worry about that, whether your container is watertight. And then drainage, that's not an issue. And again, like I said with my tulip video, you could change this out for the seasons. Really just looking for quick, easy pop of color on your door. And of course the ribbon, depending on what you find for ribbon, choices, oh my goodness, are endless. I love how wild these flowers look. Next, I'm going to start to add in some purple stems. These again have a different texture. I've got some dark purple. I actually get these at the dollar store. Got some darker shades of purple. I think I'm going to keep this one all together so that I can have its length, stretch it out, and then once I get it in there, really play with its placement of each and every stem. Want to make sure you have color in every area of your arrangement. I'm going to grab a couple more tulips. This is a great example of how to use up what you already have. I have one pink, it's a Real Touch tulip, but I'm actually going to add it in here to this piece. I'm going to put it right here in the center. If the foam will let me. And then I'm going to add in a couple more of the pinkish reddish tones in the back. Okay, so now I'm ready to add in some of my tall grass. Definitely my favorite from Hobby Lobby. I use this all the time. Again, why I love it so much is it just gives that airy feel to any piece. I was thinking about, and I am going to, because I love the look of it, add in some of these pussy willows with this other green. And I'm going to also have to add a pick to these because in some spots they'll be okay, but in the back where I want to add them, not quite long enough. Back and look at it. This piece definitely screams spring. Okay, now what I'm going to do is start to work on the bow. I'm going to work on the bow and then I'm going to go in and continue to fill it in. I've got my loop here that's probably about a 4-inch loop that I'm starting with, and I have a ribbon strip that's probably what, 24 inches. And again, this is completely up to you what you want to do for the first of all, you got to take into consideration the size of your container that you're working with, and then just your personal preference, your taste, what you like. Again, I'm pinching and twisting. And like I said, if you have arthritis or if you have a hard time holding all this ribbon, you could just simply use a clothespin to hold it as you go, as you make the loops. That's helpful. I'm just looking for something that's really going to drape. You could, like I said, in the tulip swag, you could very easily, they sell pre-made bows. Most craft stores now, you could do that if you struggle with making a bow. What do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. That's what I want. I'm going to use my white pipe cleaner. My white pipe cleaner, just like I did before. And I'm catching all of my loops. Once I catch them all, I twist the pipe cleaner around like so. Just coming back around and through. Now this one's going to be a little bit different. What I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to attach it up here to the basket and have it hang down. Again, I just want it to be droopy, just like that. So you've got a couple ways you could do this. You could actually try to feed it through, which is my first thought. And it's actually working. Wow. That doesn't typically happen. Trying to grab it. And then there's actually a metal piece in this basket. I'm going to try to feed it back out. Oh my goodness, I can. Boy, today is a really good day. And I'm going to go back in here and catch it on the inside and pull it up. Now I'm going to come in and I'm actually going to leave this one longer because I want to be able to roll it up. And if you want to go in now and kind of secure that, that's wrapped around the basket, if you feel, mine feels a little loose here in the front, you could do that as well. I've grabbed some more Spanish moss and I am just tucking it down in on the sides. continue to work on this for a few more minutes, and I'm truly happy with where I'm at. I think it totally complements the front door swag, but it makes a statement all its own. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you've learned a thing or two. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, I wish you would. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the bell so that you'll be sure not to miss any of our upcoming content. We truly just want to inspire you to get creative.